Hi guys, you're welcome to another beautiful episode of Leadership and Leverage, where we have real and candid conversations with leaders across different industries. On this show, we hosted leaders from different industries, different localities, different countries, different continents. Today we have top person in the game, Professional Chief Executive Operating Officer of Gokada. Share your welcome to the show. Yeah. I know we've been always rescheduling this conversation, and I'm glad we're able to, you know, get a time on the calendar to, you know, talk real stuff and see what we can learn from your wealth of experience. Yeah, but first I want to start, um, your journey over the years. How would you summarize it? What would you say about your journey, your leadership journey specifically? How would you, in a nutshell, what would you say about it? How has it always been? Where did you start leading actually? I know it's years back, but would you mind sharing how it all started? Who first gave you the opportunity to lead?
Thanks, Emmanuel, once again. Thanks for having me. So, the way I understand leadership and the way I pattern leadership can be anywhere, right? You can lead anywhere you are. It's not about the title. It's not about the position. It has nothing to do with the name them title, nomenclature, or whatever. Individuals can lead from anywhere. You can lead in any place you find yourself, whether you are the least on the hierarchy of things or the least on your garangram. You can lead wherever you find yourself. Okay, so that has been my driving force as an individual, professionally, as a professional. Whatever names that comes with moving up the rank is just, for me, it's title, and title means nothing. Leadership means influence. So if you are influencing anybody or anything, any area, your community, anything, you're a leader. That's just for like a basic introduction. And so for me, I started that long ago. Okay, influencing my communities, influencing my environment, influencing my anywhere, be it in the professional space, be it in the secular, at home, in church, wherever I find myself. I'm always looking for opportunities to influence. All right, so um, I can effectively, I would say I started leading as far back in when I was in university. Graduated from Obafemi Law University, Ileife, 2007. That when I finished, I had my first degree in real estate management. And back in school, I had responsibilities tied to me, from fellowship as a leader of the choir at the time to my department, handling responsibilities regarding tutoring other um, junior colleagues, at my almost fourth or fifth year. Um, yeah, so I've always been a person of influence, right? I always like to change things around me. Even though when it's not convenient, sometimes it could be boring, but you find yourself in situations where you just have to do stuff. Not that you're forcing yourself, but you want to see things be better, right? And naturally, for leaders, for people that put themselves in shoes to want to do something right, you see people drawn to you naturally, right? People are drawn to you. You don't just know why. It may just be the fact that you know how to speak or to say the right words. It could be you know how to meet their needs, and unknown to you, you are doing something for them, but you are just talking. And so it started back in uni. After graduating, had my first stint. By the way, I've worked in about my eight in different industries. I've been privileged to work from real estate to banking, from banking to telecoms, telecoms to engineering manufacturing to IT, IT to back to engineering manufacturing again,
You've gone
and
round, Shil.
yeah, then into tech, into startup. Starting with the automotive and now the logistics technology space. So it's been a bit of a round trip for me. And across all these spaces where I found myself, I've been privileged to influence my space. Let me put it that way. So it's been a long journey for me. Like I said, it has something to do with the title, but everywhere I find myself, my abilities to make a change, to just do something differently, has been what has kept me going as a person. And of course, it comes with the movement up the ladder. More critically and more importantly, my what I started observing the actual progress, like the sporadic progress was, of course, I was first of all in the technical side of things. And while I was in telecom sector, then that was where the clarity dawned on me that I need to be on the business side of things, the sales side, the business development side, the operation side, away from the people that are in the background, basically,
Yeah,
not knowing
the,
that I
the
was still,
forefront.
yeah. So I was more driven with, I'll be honest with you here, I was driven by the fact that all the sales boys around me then, they were giving them brand new cars, giving them, you know,
Oh,
giving brand. But meanwhile, me on the operation side, back end,
yeah,
I was
yeah.
always in the bush somewhere, checking whether one site is up. With then back in the day, and I was in South region, covering Port Harcourt, Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, 3G implementation for a top three telecoms company in Nigeria. I don't want to mention names.
Okay.
So I was overseeing the project, but I saw the guys in the sales team always boiling. When we finish implementation, they would go and sell, and they were almost like two, three, four x of what we were earning. So that prompted me to, like, I wanted more. What's going on? So I had to go for my masters. I have a master's in finance and management, and also have an MBA, both from the UK. And then fast forward to 20, that was what started the whole journey. So I started developing my skill set in the other aspect: finance, business development, sales, business operations, core business operations, not just you know technical operations. Overseeing general operations of the business end to end, how everything are connected, seeing where the marketing team impacts business performance, seeing where the customer service impacts performance, seeing where HR impacts performance. All of that, I was really open to that. So that I had to go for my training, and I did some other few trainings like that. So joining a startup in 2019, I've always had mentors and leaders, but that I value from afar. When you see people from afar, I like that person, I like what he's doing. But I've not had like a close person that really was interested in your journey. I was just always doing my job, do my job, and that's it. So I got in the startup in 2019, the automotive space, and there was a bit of a culture shock for me. Everything was fast, fast, fast paced, sporadic, run, run, run. Everybody. In fact, it was so shocking that after the first month I got into the new business, um, I was placed on PIP. Yes, 1 month into the new job in a startup, I was placed on PIP. Like, was crazy. Like, okay, you don't know what you're doing. We can't have you here. Go. I was like, what? I was handling territory sales in the automotive space then, that company. But I was like, well, let me just go back, Jerry. What kind of company is this? But I sat down. I'm like, Sean, you're not a quitter. You are not one that, you faced a lot of these kind of things in past. And for, like I said, I'm quite dynamic. I've been across 8 business industries. So I had the confidence that there's no industry I cannot work. I know that for a fact. That is one thing I have been able to build myself with, right? It comes from knowledge, grasping knowledge, trying to know a little about everything. So I had to believe that this will not be a difference. I will crack it, in quotes. Um, I was leading a team of about 20, 24 as a territory sales manager. And, it's sales, but overall, there was a potential in my territory to hit the numbers. But the bane of the problem I saw was a demotivated workforce. So I practically inherited a team that was demotivated. Like it was the least performing territory at the time I joined. The least performing territory in the whole business when I joined. Although there was a potential because of the location where the territory was. And so we began. So it was more of actual leadership, influencing these guys to do the numbers. And how did it happen? I saw myself, like I always do, leading from the front, becoming close to them, show empathy where you need to show empathy as a leader. I could have just sat down and be shouting, "You're not meeting bars. You, oh yeah, HR, fire this girl or close this center." But I didn't do that. I checked and I had most of the times I do regular check-ins one on one. What's going on? How you doing? Identify the top performers from the low performers. See who can work with, moves people around, took the top performers to work with the low performers, to see if there could be a rub off of skills or expertise, or maybe it was a knowledge gap. We had training sessions handled by the team members. While I was just coordinating all of these things, there were times that I close deals for my guys. Like I would negotiate in their presence. Sometimes I bring the customers to them. Sometimes I give them the links, call this person. I will negotiate in their presence. I will close the deal in their presence. I'll look for the dealer that will buy the cars in their presence. So I don't just say it by word. I help. There were times I sleep in the centers. Yes, I don't go home because then I used to live in Songota, very far, and my territory was on the island. Imagine the distance. I was there for almost a year doing that travel. So there were days I closed transaction late. My center, if my the last, I ensured that all my centers would have closed for the day before I left my territory. So although it was hectic, but that approach changed the mindset of my team members. Like, look, this guy is not just another territory manager, right? This man is really interested in our well-being, right? I mean, I've slept on the floor of the center before. There were times where my guys were involved in maybe sales of stolen vehicle, coincidentally, and there was a police issue. I was in the station with them. I wasn't just calling on the phone, and we're in police station together. So showing all of this to my guys, whenever there was a drought in terms of there were no walking customers to the centers wanting to sell their cars, we go on the road under bridge in Obalende CMS looking for sale together with me. So that is how I lead, and that's how I influence. My style is leading from the front, right? Of course, you won't do that all the time, but for everything, every person you lead, show your followers that this is how we do it. You can do it as well. There's nothing magical. And a leader does not necessarily have to be the best hand on the team. A leader doesn't necessarily be is the best person, but a leader is one that can manage the best assets available to him. Right? Most leaders have usually the best leaders. I mean, are the people that have people that are better than them and they are managing them. That's the best leader. Any leader that cannot manage superstars around him, in quotes, or feeling inferior and all of that, this person, no, that person is not suitable to be a leader. In fact, you should be happy that you have superstars around you. It's going to make your job easier. All right. And what that does is that it puts a lot of burden on the leader to know more. As a leader, you need to know a lot. You can't know everything, but there has to be knowledge about everything around you that you have. You might not be 100%. For example, I was mentioning highlighting marketing, HR, customer service and all. You need to have an understanding of bits and bits and bits and bits of all of this together as a leader in whatever level, maybe at territory level, operation, area level, regional level, and on maybe on a wider scale. So leading from the front, showing your downlines or your followers how it is done, and doing it with them. So it's not just by mouth. You cross your leg back of the office and you're controlling. Hey, you do this, you do this. No, what's going on? Your challenge, boss. I can't close this deal. I need so amount to close this deal. Okay, you know what? Let me speak to the seller myself. I talk to the seller. You know, and then sometimes no, we might not close that same day, but a few days down the line, after so much, working on the seller, we get to close this deal. So that made it created like a bond with my team. They're like family, you know. And guess what? Within 3 months, the team that was the lowest performing territory in the business Africa wide jumped to number two. And by December, it jumped to number one. I mean, the numbers are there. There's no This one is not anybody's jump to number one. During COVID, we were like the leading frontiers for the business. During COVID, where everybody was at home, we were the ones doing stuffs, and other territories had to copy. The business had to tell other territories to replicate what Sheon's territory was doing. You know, People started taking initiatives by themselves because this is what Sheon would think we should do. Our boss, this is what I'm looking at. People now started thinking out of the box. And as a leader, one thing I also do is I make them see themselves beyond where they find themselves. I always tell my guys, you cannot be a sales officer for life. Demand more from life. And I can tell you for a fact, this is about 4 years down the line, nearly 90%, or let me just be modest, 70% of my guys are no longer in this country. People I worked with, they are all over the world doing things. Most of the one I've got for masters. So I get myself involved in your private life. Not like I'll be bothering, but you must be better. You cannot be this way. I didn't have the person that pushed me, like personally pushed me that way. No, I had to do it myself. When we were saying that who pushed you to leadership, how did you begin? No, it was me discovering it myself and seeing other leaders. I'm like, I want to be like this. Do you understand? And of course, sometimes when the numbers start coming out, some people recognize it. Oh, yeah, Sean, blah, blah, blah. But there was no person that held me by the hand to show me per se that this is what you should do. No. So I made it a responsibility to show others how it is done. People that want to be so. So and then after about 2 years, I got into where I am at the moment. And of course, just replicated the same thing. Although the problems that you inherit as a leader, anywhere you find yourself, are always different. But there will be like just like Venn diagram in mathematics. You have
Yeah.
the three sets, and you have the
Yeah.
intersection. There will be
Yeah. In
some
the middle.
things that are the middle one.
Yeah.
There will be some the common factors, common issues that are similar to everywhere you've been in this life.
So what are those
Though,
common issues, Sean?
okay, so you see, they are quite relative depending on the sector you find yourself or industry you find yourself. But one thing that I know that all have been so far, it is the same. There are people issues, people problem, right? In any organization, there are always people problem. That you can't rule out that fact. And you need to understand this as an individual, not necessarily being a leader. Like I said, anybody that is handling responsibility, in my policy, my pastor used to say back in the one in school, responsibility is the price for greatness. So whatever responsibility that you're handling is a roadmap to the great heights you might get to. If you run away from responsibility, you're slowing down yourself onto greatness. That is the standard. So for every time task comes, responsibility comes, I embrace it. Whether I can do it or not, I embrace it first and start looking for how to go about it. So the people problem is such that it's in two ways, right? Some people find themselves in some situations. unknown to them. I mean, in the workplace. Some people are in the workplace, they are not, maybe knowledge gap sometimes for the areas of what they're supposed to work on. There's a knowledge gap, so they can't cope. And by so doing, they just go around in circles. People, you can be doing something and you might not be doing anything. You can be saying you are working out, but you're not doing anything. That is something that is unique, that is paramount across all industries. Now, there's also the part where people are not well equipped enough for responsibilities, right? And when that happens, it starts showing. There's a part where people originally were, and not because they weren't equipped, they had the know-how, but they didn't work on their self, upgrade their skill sets, whatever, for advancement and development in whatever sector they find themselves, right? And there's also the third one that they don't want to know at all. Like, I don't want to know. I don't care. You know. So those are the three segments of a people problem that I've seen that is peculiar to almost all industries I've worked, right? There's also the organizational side of things to it. Okay. Each organization is unique. Each organization has the way they work. However, being a leader, right? It is your responsibility to understand how this unique qualities or ways of work of this each organization is, and then you try to position yourself on getting things done. Because if you're not careful, you just find yourself that in a short while you'll be tired of the work, of the place where you are. And I mean, once you start getting tired mentally, it frustrates everybody. It will be like a waste of time. You won't enjoy what you're doing. As a leader as well, you also need to enjoy what you're doing. Like I said earlier on, you need to enjoy what you're doing. There has to be a reason you want to wake up in the morning and go to work. All right. As a leader, like I mentioned, you are not just a leader based on the core of expertise, the core job you're doing. You should be able to lead with your lifestyle in the workplace. You shouldn't be someone that mixes pleasure and work together. I'm not judging anyone here. I'm just speaking generally on my what has worked for me and how I've gotten to where I am by the grace of God. Of course, I'm a Christian. I don't know if I can say that here. I'm a product of grace because there's been, and this journey is still far, but where I am today is just grace that has brought me. Of course, there's a part of hard work. Okay, so I can't rule out the God element in it, but you have to do what you have to do. And I'm also one that embraces opportunities. Some there are some guys that they say opportunity begets preparation, or how do they say that stuff? Be prepared so that when you see
Yeah,
opportunity,
yeah.
there are some
Preparation,
times that
yeah.
there are
Chance
some
before the
times
prepared
where
mind, something like that.
guess what? There are some times you're not prepared and you see opportunity, oga, still grab them, still grab it. Once you grab it, go and be finding the solution as you grabbed it. No, nobody has to know that you are not prepared or you don't know this thing. Grab it. If it's something you can sharply look for somebody that knows it. Oh yeah, Alpha, show me this thing. That's the part of leadership. You know,
Yes,
you
I
don't just say
agree.
I can't do it and you reject it. No, collect it. Okay, no problem. I'll get back to you. Look for somebody that can tidy you sharp because as leaders, of course, your mental capacity about to grab so many things is expanded. So within a short time, you would have gotten insights into what you thought you didn't know or you couldn't understand, right? And when you're presenting to the person that gave you the opportunity, I've done this, that's the end. So you've added to your skill set by not necessarily knowing about it initially, but because when the thing came, you sharply look for solutions to it. I have been in that shoe many, many times. This opportunity began preparation. I wasn't not like I wasn't prepared, but I mean, when it came, I didn't want to turn it down because when you turn down opportunities, sometimes it might close some doors for you.
It
It
haunts you
might close some
too.
doors for you. It
Start
haunts you.
regretting.
Yes.
If I had known, I would
So
have given it a try.
as leaders, which I also don't like. saying the word no. One person, one I just remember something now. Back in uni, right? I had a lecturer then, a professor. He's a professor now, emeritus professor. His name is he's a popular guy in Ife, Professor Aluko. You know, when you ask you questions, anybody can say you, what is this? If you say no idea, you say you can't tell me you don't have idea. There's nothing so called no idea. You mean you went to secondary school, year one, year two, year three, year four, year five? They're telling me no idea, no possible. You must have an idea. Start talking. What do you know about this?
And that's the truth. There's always an idea.
Just say anything you want to say. And guess what? You end up finding out that when people start talking, they'll start speaking. They were speaking nonsense initially. They find a way navigate and find connections to what the subject of discourse was. So that was like a seed for me. You cannot tell me you don't know about anything. Anybody comes to D, even if it's in the field of medicine, any field, this I can speak to anything, any issue in this life, any issue, any area. There's no area I cannot speak to. I might not be 100% as knowledgeable, but I cannot go to any gathering and they raise a subject and they require me to speak and I cannot talk about it. I never see that kind of thing. It is part of the development, skill sets you develop yourself so that you can influence. When you're speaking to people and they're listening to you, that's a form of influence. Because at that time, you have the podium, you have the platform to speak, and they're listening to you. So from your speech, some people might be influenced. I was at an event yesterday, not yesterday, 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, an event organized by Nitida and 3MT. Was it for all the tech operators, blah, 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 in Nigeria, whatever. And I just sat down. Where I sat down, there was a guy I met, right? The guy was a photographer. I didn't know him from anywhere. So I sat down beside him. The other normal guys were meeting other tech people doing networking. I was just sitting down when I got there. And we started talking. We got talking, and so there were so many um, mutual areas. Like the guy went to Unilag. I went to Ife. There was a dance group in Ife that was also in Unilag. I belonged to the dance group. He belonged to the dance group at different intervals. I graduated 07. He graduated maybe like 20, like almost 7 years or 8 years later.
Yeah.
Now, the only mistakes I've seen that has been made are or is when as a leader you're showing empathy, you're showing commitment, you're showing concern to your leaders or wherever you're leading at the time, there could be the point where don't know where to draw the line. So there's a thin line between too empathetic and just allowing nonsense to reign as a leader. There's a very thin line. You're showing empathy at the same time. People are just doing what they want because it's a show now. Nothing will happen. Nothing's going to happen. There's a very thin line like this. And if you're not careful as a leader to take a stand at that point, they see it as, what's wrong with this guy now? Do you understand? They take it as, this guy has gone berserk. Or why is he behaving like this towards me? Me, we are partying now. Why is he doing like this? That was one mistake I made. And trust me, it was really brutal. Like, the effect was really brutal. It turned so many people against me because I was being emotionally smart, intelligent, but I wasn't putting boundaries, like immediate boundaries across board, where you need to put the boundaries, stamp your foot that no, no, this is nonsense. I gave you time to sort this out. You didn't sort it out. I gave you extra one more day. This is nonsense. You'll be queried for this. So all of that point, you need to draw lines. Where to draw the line, there has to be that. You show empathy, but know where to draw the limits. And then, as a leader, you're not a savior, right? You're not Jesus Christ. You cannot save everybody. I use that word carefully. That's save. You can influence, but there are some there are some people that, there's a common saying my wife used to say. So you cannot save a princess that loves her distress. A princess that loves her distress. You cannot save her. She's a princess, but she loves her distress. She loves the distress situation she finds herself. So no matter you do as Prince Charming, trying to save her from the distress, it won't work. So there are some professional relationships like that. You'll be doing all you can as a leader, but it doesn't just work. When that happens, you've done all you could. The next step is to involve the HR. Please, HR, take it off from here. Right? That's the extreme circumstance. So from not knowing when to draw the lines, from being too empathetic, and just absolutely allowing gibberish or weakness to reign in the team, right? We are as strong as our weakest link, and we are as weak as our strongest link. I say that again. We are as strong as our weakest link, and we are as weak as our strongest link, meaning that a group of people or a team, the weakest person determines the strength of that team, right? So assuming the strength, we are measuring strength over 100%, and the weakest person has about 90% strength. The weakness of the weakest person in that group of 10, he has 90% rating. I mean, that means that they're very strong, right? That group is very strong. And then we are we are as weak as our strongest link. If you look at the strongest in the group, how strong is the rating? You check it. You understand? So essentially, identify who is weak in the team and let's start working on them as a leader. That's what I do. Okay, guy, you can help this person out, sort him out. I try to replicate myself in people, not necessarily being like me, but I replicate my skill set, my expertise. I tell them what to do, read this book, go online, do this, do that. You cannot be here. You need to further, the ones that need to further their educations, you cannot rely on ONG. You cannot rely on BSc alone. Further educations, get other skill set. Oh, I don't have the money. This person you are looking in front of you didn't have the money when he went to do his master's overseas. I didn't have Shingbai, but I did two. I did an MBA afterwards. So it is all about you conceiving the idea, but sometimes some people need people to make them see that this is possible to achieve. Like I said, I had nobody like that during my time when I was going through all those phases. Nobody was there. It was just me, myself, and God. So I made it a point of view that as God will help me to rise in my career, for as many that will be willing, comes across my path to speak to influence, I will always do this. You can be more. You can always be more. You can always be more. So those were the two mistakes. Extremely being empathetic, not knowing when to draw the line, and trying to be a savior. You cannot be a savior for everyone. That translates in the workspace and it affects performance. In fact, it led to some people not even talking to me anymore at some point. Everybody, and I didn't like that because I value relationships a lot, My other side as a leader, the hard side of me could be very extreme. So I had to also do some personal work as well on myself, right? I had to do a lot of personal work that works as well. As a leader as well, or whenever you find yourself in privileged positions in organizations, you need to also know how to understand. And I don't want to use the word be a political person. I don't want to use that word political, but be someone that we are not misunderstood. Try to be correct at all times. I'm not saying you should be a sycophant. No. Try to be correct, meaning that whenever there's a general consensus that supersedes yours or your opinion or your input, and there's a general consensus by everybody in the business, even though you know in your mind that this thing will fail, you accept what has been agreed in general as a leader. Now I'm talking about you relating with the people above you now. As a leader, you still have maybe board members report to the CEO, yeah, all of that. So I'm relating with those people requires a very, very high level emotional intelligence as well. Okay. You don't want to appear as one cocky, one proud, or because you feel you are expert. So there's sometimes whatever that is being cascaded down to you will not sit well with you. You won't see that, but you have to, just for the sake of the business and what has been communicated, you have to go by it. You accept what it is. So if it doesn't work out, you still come out. It didn't work out. Let's look for alternatives. You don't now start saying, "Shebi, I told you, say this thing no go work." No, you don't come and start doing that. Those are the things that leaders should also, be careful about. You want to make yourself, I'm the best, I'm the most correct person here. No. Whenever there's a general consensus, or there's an overall arcane decision by from the top, you accept it. Try and work it out. If it doesn't work out, everybody will see that, oh, it wasn't your fault, but it didn't just work out. Okay. Um and so I don't forget, your relationships will help you, help people speak about you in your absence. So you might not be in rooms where some decision might be made, but people are there. Those people, what are the impressions they have about you? So that's why, as a person of influence, you must ensure you leave some people with good impressions. You might not agree with them 100% at all times, but always leave a good impression. I might not agree with you, but I don't hate you. We have different opinion. We are different people, so our opinions differ. That's why you are not agreeing with me. However, you're not a bad person to me. I'm not a bad person to you. Leave that good impression, because a lot of people has lost opportunities due to this. Most especially people that resign from organizations and go to other places, they just want to slam the door, bang, bang, and X. No, it's not the best way to go. Find a way to always live amicably. As a leader, particularly, or as leaders, the more you rise up the cadre, the more important it is for you to be more careful on how you exit businesses, right? The more you climb the career ladder, the more extremely important it is for you, because at that level, it is just a word of mouth. Ah, that boy, I'm a crazy guy. No, they might not even be listening to what they're saying, but just a word, that one sentence, it could crumble opportunities that probably you've been waiting on the heavens to provide for you. So just one statement from somebody who scatter. That guy is too proud. Don't mind him. He's good though, but he's too cocky. Don't mind him. He's very good. He's smart. He's intelligent, but he's too proud. He's too cocky, and you lose opportunities that you've been waiting for so long. you know. And on the other way too, it could be, that guy, very solid guy. Even though you're not that solid, but the guy is smart, he's very friendly, he collaborates a lot. The guy they carry work for head. He's a very smart guy. He works with everybody. He's very humble. He's very smart, very loyal. If you give him work, just go and sleep. Even though you're not all that. But guess what? That has finished the whole hard work for you. So as you go further as leaders, higher and higher, these kind of things they become more important. Maybe when you're still down, manager, middle line manager, low level manager, you might not be bothered. But when you start getting to senior management positions and all of that, it becomes very, very key and essential to keep good relationships. Even though you hate the person, you hate him. Just, how are you, bro? What's up? Just keep professional relationship, make it open, ensure that at the time you're leaving those organizations, there's no bad blood. There's an example I can tell that somebody I know left an organization very crazily, very awful, just went away. And after he left, he was still speaking negatively about the organization. There's somebody somewhere, the HR in that company saw his CV in another company where she has a friend. The friend was the HR there. And just stumbled on it. It's not like it was a conscious, can you let me check this person? No. You know this person? Say yes. No. He currently applied for this role in our company. The salary was about 7 digits every month. 7. And he was like, I know him now. Where did you know him? That's how I started. This guy, very toxic, very this, very that, very that. And guess what? The guy was already at the final stage. That was how that person just cancelled. I mean, you're in the final stage already, just to make you offer. That's how the person lost the opportunity, because there was a past with the other lady that he didn't sort out professionally. Just for citing his name. I know this person now. What's he doing? What's his document doing with you here? It's horrible. It's horrible. So we should learn as leaders to always keep that. I know it's difficult sometimes because you might have been treated badly, you might have, all of that. But for the sake of your future, except you don't want to advance career wise anymore, even though you are right, you are correct. Everything they did to you, you are the one you are supposed to be educated. They are the bad people. Still very, very, very important. It helps a lot as leaders, especially
Yeah.
top level and above.